Hey, this is Noah, and in this video, I want to talk to you about showings. How do we schedule them? How does this work? So before I talk to you about how it works for you, I want to give you some background to let you know how it works for me and what kind of structure I have to work with. Okay, that way when we're talking about permissions and stuff, you kind of know what I'm looking at. Okay, so what you're seeing here on the screen is the back end to what's called showing time. It's up here, showing time. This is what all realtors use to schedule showings. All right. Now, this is only used by licensed realtors, not the general public. And this particular screen is what the listing agent sees. This is not what the buyer's agent sees, just what the listing agent sees. Okay. And I set this up for all the buyer's agents to see. This is kind of the back end area. This happens to be a house that I'm listing right now, and I want to go through a few different appointment types. Let me see what's important here. Is listing agent, actually, you know what, I'm going to go to appointment types. There are 5 different appointment types to choose from. Go and show and confirm with any are the most common. So that means, let's say there's 5 different people that live in the house, 5 different adults that can approve it. I can add them to my list of contacts, and then anybody on that list who approves the showing will approve the showing, and then that buyer's good to go. Alternatively, let's say that everybody in the household needs to approve the showing before that showing is approved. So let's say that there's 3 different people, or maybe a husband and a wife, and both those people need to approve the showing before that agent is allowed to go and take a look at the house. Okay, so that's not very common. By far, more common is confirm with any. And go and show is where we just tell them we automatically approve the showing, and off they go to see the house. All right, and then refer to a listing agent. Sometimes maybe there's people, there's occupants who don't have a cell phone or don't want to do text messages, so I'll be more involved with that showing. But most common is this one, and go and show. In this particular example, I'm going to choose confirm with any. All right. So is the listing agent accompanying showing? So let's say for all showings, we prefer that the occupants not be home. So we would get a key, we would get a door code, somehow we would get access to the home. And that way, when the showing arrives, the house is vacant. That's most ideal, but we understand that sometimes that the occupant wants to be there or can't leave. So I totally get that. If the occupant's going to be there, we ask that the occupant, let the person in, and then that occupant goes and tells the buyer, hey, you know what, I'm just going to hide out over here in this back bedroom or in the front yard or the backyard, and kind of stay out of the buyer's way. And then the other thing is be kind and considerate, but don't carry on a conversation with the buyers. The buyers are always going to want to pump you for information. It's preferable that you just politely just say, hey, you know what, if you have any questions, talk to my agent, talk to Noah, and he'll answer any questions you have. And then just kind of, hey, I really need to make an excuse. I really need to take this phone call. I need to check on this other thing over here. And then separate yourself and let those buyers through. Okay. But if you want me to be there for any reason, or one of my assistants, we can accommodate that as well. So if you want us to be there, we can. It's not very common though. All right. So now here I have a few different people here. I'm the listing agent, and I'm going to get a text message. Let me know what's happening. Anytime a showing is approved or declined, or anything happens, I want to be let known. And the other part is, you can see here, I added John Doe. This is my cell phone here. You can see I just added it to John Doe, just so you can see how it works for an occupant. Okay, and here we're going to choose that he confirms appointments via text message. He's also going to get an auto call. Sometimes actually an actual person will call you to confirm or just follow up with that particular showing. Okay. Now, as we go down below, advance notice. How much notice do you want us to give you before the showing? Usually, the shorter the better. And this gives me only like 0 hours to 1 hour. So if you want a 1 hour notice, minimum required, I'll put that here. Suggested is maybe 2 hours. Maybe we keep that at 1 hour, but it's entirely up to you. The shorter the better, right? The shorter the better. But even if we put 0 hours, they still have to call and schedule that. But when we put 1 hour, whenever they go to schedule the showing, whenever the buyer's agent goes to schedule the showing, it won't even allow them to show it. If they're logging into this at 1 p.m. they won't even be allowed to even try to schedule something until 2 p.m. Okay, it's by default. So keep that in mind. We'll if you have a requirement, let me know and I'll plug it in here. Now keep in mind that sometimes an agent they're showing other houses, and that buyer just notices your house as they're driving through town, and they're getting ready to leave, and they're wanting to know if they can just sneak in there real quick, last minute, and they know that you have a 1 hour set, but they'll call me and say, hey, Noah, is there any way that you can work your magic and get us in there in the next 20 minutes or in the next 5 minutes? So I'll usually tell them, hey, let me check and let me find out if that's even possible. So then I'll call the occupant and I'll explain them the situation. Is it even possible? So don't feel pressured. Don't feel bad if you can't do it. I'm just saying maybe it's possible. Maybe you're already at the beach that weekend. You're not even home. So yeah, it's not a big deal. So I'll respect your wishes of 1 hour notice, but I'm also going to try every now and again to try to sneak in a showing if it's possible, if the stars line up. But don't feel obligated or bad if it doesn't work. We're just trying to see if we can get that buyer in there. Okay. Showings are typically scheduled at least the window of opportunities from like 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. something like that. We can adjust that as well. And talking about adjusting, actually, so if we go back over here to restrictions and exceptions. So let's say for an example, on Sundays, you really don't want any showings on Sundays. Any Sunday at all, you don't want showing. So I can set this thing up so it won't even let buyers choose that date to see that house. Don't even bug me about a request on Sundays because it's not going to happen. So I can set that up. It saves everybody some frustration in figuring out why you're declining showings on Sundays. So I can fine tune that depending on what your parameters are. Okay. All right. So that's really about it. And the rest of it is just buffer times. Oh, there's one other thing I want to show you here down here at the bottom. So let's say you have cats. Cats. Let's say you have cats and dogs. Cats or dogs. Please do not let cats or dogs out. Okay. So I can write a note for the showing agent. Whatever you want, any kind of special requirements, I can then plug that in here. Okay. Once I do all that, I save this. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what it looks like from the buyer's agent side. So what does the buyer's agent see whenever he goes to show this? This is the back end of the MLS. This is not what you see on Realtor.com or Zillow. So that agent's going to look at the house. He's going to see some notes, and then he's going to go over here to showing time. Click on the showing time button. That brings him in here. Now, what I'm going to see and what they see is slightly different because I'm the listing agent. I'll explain that. So I'm going to select this because I'm the listing agent. And I'm going to do here, I can, either do a whole bunch of houses, but I'm just going to schedule one single showing. And you can see here, see the blocked out is when we're not allowed to see it. There's no block out, so I can select any time. So I'm just going to select, let's do at noon. I'm going to select it for noon. And this is going to be just a 30-minute appointment. So from noon to 12:30. One thing to be mindful of, these agents, sometimes they're showing, 6 to 8 houses in a single day. So sometimes it's difficult to know how much time that buyer is going to want to stay in that property and how much time it's going to take to go from house to house. So usually I budget, whenever I'm showing houses, I'll budget 20 minutes per house. Sometimes that can take longer if it's a big house, or if the people really like it and they stick around there and they wander around a lot longer. And I'll kind of try to corral the buyers to the next showing, but sometimes it can be difficult, especially with traffic. You have no control. Or sometimes the buyers walk in and they just don't like the house. And they, 2 minutes into the showing, they say, nope, this isn't it. All of a sudden, we're going to the next house 20 minutes earlier. If the showing is going to be any shorter than, let's say it's a 1 o'clock showing. If it's any sooner than like 10 minutes early, usually that agent will call me up and say, hey, Noah, we're running early. Do you mind? Is that okay? I'll call you up. I'll send you a text message. Hey, they're going to be a little bit early. Is that okay? If you say no, then they have to wait outside for their appointed time. Obviously, it's hot. It's Bakersfield, so they could get a little bit frustrated waiting outside. But you guys, as occupants, you drive the bus. If you want them to stick to that schedule, I totally understand. Not a big deal. Okay. Another thing is sometimes occupants, whether the owners or the renters, if it's just one showing, they may just hop in their car, go down the street, and wait for that buyer to show up, right? Because they don't want to go for hours away. They want to stick nearby. And sometimes the buyer will just drive by the neighborhood. They'll drive by. They may park. They may not park. They may even drive by the neighborhood and already decide, you know what, this neighborhood is not for me. I don't like the neighborhood. I don't like the location. I don't like the sound. I don't like whatever it is. So you may be waiting outside for that buyer to show up, and he never does. So if maybe 10 minutes after that showing, if that buyer hasn't showed up yet, give me a call or text me, hey, Noah, is that buyer going to show up still? And I'll reach out to that buyer and see where they're at, see if maybe they skipped it, maybe they just drove by, didn't like it, or maybe they're running behind. So let me know if you guys are waiting for them, and I can reach out to the buyer and figure out what's going on. Okay, so for this particular one, I'm going to do 12:30. The buyer's name is optional. And here, this appointment status, this is only available to me as a listing agent. For the buyer's agent, they don't see this. Since I'm the listing agent, the program assumes that I have pretty good communication with you. So I can just call you, talk to you about other stuff. Maybe I'll ask you about this appointment, and we just confirm it over the phone while I'm talking about other stuff. So that's why it's only available to listing agents. The buyer's agents don't have this option. But I'm going to choose not confirmed. And here you can see the note about the dogs and the cats. Okay. So once I do that, I'm going to click on request appointment. You can see the max appointment length up here is 30 minutes. So I'm going to click on request appointment. Then I'm going to get a text message here show up in a few minutes. And it's pretty instantaneous. Let's see there it is. Okay. Let me pull that over real quick. Okay, and this is what it looks like. So it's got this text message, and it's going to look just like this. Usually it's from an 847 area code. I have no idea where that's from, but this is what it looks like. And it's going to say, showing requested Saturday, 7/23. It gives us a time, the date. And all we have to do is click yes or no. So if we do yes, if we do no, obviously that's canceling the appointment. So once we do yes, just respond back with yes and send that. That's all you have to do. The appointment's been confirmed. The listing agent will get a notice that their showing's confirmed, and we're good to go. It's as simple as that. If it's no, you can just hit no. Usually what's going to happen next is that agent will call me and say, hey, no, I just tried to schedule an appointment. It was canceled. Then I'll maybe reach out to you and say, hey, is there a problem with this time? Or the buyer's agent will just try another time. Maybe he'll try it an hour or two later or an hour or two before and see what kind of, what other options there may be. So if you decline one, don't be surprised if a few seconds later you get another request for an hour afterwards. It's some kind of adjusted time. They're going to try to figure out what time is better for you. Okay, but you wouldn't have to go through that if you can let me know what blocks of time you automatically want me to black out, and it wouldn't even be available to them to select those times. Okay, I think that's it. I talked about drive-by showings. I talked about the short notice and being flexible with our times. So if there's any questions, please give me a call. If you approved a showing and you need to go back and cancel it, give me a call and we can work through that as well. Okay. All this is only available. This whole scheduling showings and stuff. Again, I want to stress this is only available to professional realtors, licensed realtors who have passed background checks. Buyers themselves aren't going to be doing this process, and the buyers will not show up by themselves. It'll always be with their agent. So there's many layers of protection. Okay, I hope that helps. I appreciate it. Thanks.